Hi guys, thank you very much for coming back to join me for another reaction to Next Top Singer Season 11 Episode 2. So we're getting through the casting round now. For those of you watching on Twitch Live, thank you very much. For those of you watching on YouTube, thank you very much as well. Good to have you with me for the journey. Now, I was planning to have another video or get some other videos going on the YouTube channel. I had this plan for talking about basically my trip to Montenegro and my experience with a little travel camera that I've bought, which has changed my views on photography when I go away, which is practically nothing. I tend to forget, but trying to sort out setup for a camera or a microphone, get some B-roll, that sort of thing, get it edited. I just haven't been in a position to do that this week or for the last couple of weeks because of just time and life and the like. So that's all come in, but this is quite easy. We can sit down. This setup's fine for like a quick reaction. Another reason for doing this now is I can feel something going on with my voice. I feel like I'm going to lose my voice at some point in the next couple of days with some illness that, as much as I try and fight these things off, it always gets me. So I may as well accept the inevitable and that talking may be painful for the next few days. So let's get this thing done. And so I'm sure you will have watched this, but just to give you some context, I was a judge on Next Top Singer and YouTube Idol, as it was known before. I want to say 4, maybe 5 seasons. And then I was involved as a mentor for one of those seasons as well. So I know the format quite well, but we have a relatively new judging panel with the exception of Petri, who was on the panel the whole time I was involved, the creator of the show. So a bit of a different spin on what I'm used to, but in summary, I enjoyed the direction that it's going quite a lot last time around. So let's see if it continues.
Welcome back to Next Top Singer. We are still in the casting round. Please watch episode 1 for an introduction. Auditions may still be open, so please check the description for updated information. To make it in, you have to get a yes signal from at least 2 of the judges. 2 no signals means you are out. If you make it in, please read the description for instructions, and don't forget to confirm your role.
I need a gangster to love me better than all the others do. To always forgive me, ride or die with me. That's just what gangsters do. I'm fucked up, I'm black and blue, I'm running all over you. Please take me to places that nobody knows. I'm good on that pussy shit they don't want.
Kit Kat, I give.
Okay, so that was an interesting subject choice, some of that, but we will take it. So the main thing that stands out is you need to get some distance to the microphone. That popping sound and the crackling sound is from getting too close to it, really. That would rule out a lot of the background noise. Part of the problem as well, especially if you're dealing with what might be a cheap microphone or might be a phone microphone or that sort of thing, is sometimes they can compress a little too much, so you're already losing a bit of your dynamic range. So stepping back from it and giving yourself a little bit of distance just gives you a bit more ability to get that dynamic range in. Something that I can tell you from production experience is if you get a rubbish recording in, like raw vocal, then there's only so much you can do. You can't work miracles. So recording the cleanest that you can is great. This one has some potential to it. There were some issues as well. There was a lack of dynamic range. How much of that is due to the microphone or not? Hard to tell. because it's a singing competition, we do try and give as much flexibility as we can on things like equipment. People coming in for this sort of thing, trying to win $200, that might allow them to really upgrade and get a proper set of equipment that allows them to maybe do more with this and turn it into a career at a later date. So we understand that, but by the same token, when you are dealing with people who do have the good setup already, you may stand out a little bit for the wrong reasons. I like some of the stuff that was in there. I need to listen back to it a couple of times, I think, because the noise was a little bit jarring, to say the least, and was maybe a little bit of a distraction. There was some nice tone and a little bit of sustain in there that I was picking up. As I say, if I was actually judging this for real, then I would listen to everything. In the casting round, you might have 150 entries to go through, so I might only listen twice, just long enough to get the notes in. In the later stages, it might be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, depending on what's necessary. So me going just on one listen is a little more difficult. For me, this would be a 3, which is a pass. It is a yes. I'm hearing some potential there. If we got a clean recording and maybe a song that is a little less talk singy in the middle and more actual singy, then I think there is at least some potential. Let's see if the judges agree.
I'll give you 1 because your audio sounded like you were recording from a phone mic to the point where it was very distracting. The audio was peaking just from you breathing. The pitch was very inconsistent. There was little support on your long notes, and there was little emotion, and I couldn't really hear any dynamic contrast, so I gave you a 1.
I was looking past the audio quality, so I gave you the 5. Most because I can see that you have something there clearly. Like, I could hear in the early parts you actually were pretty consistent and pretty decent, but then at the later parts you got really pitchy and like wobbly with your vocals, and then it also just, you were off key half the time. And even if you were trying to do a stylistic choice where you're like 1 key higher, 1 key lower, whatever, it just did not sound right, especially for this song. It also just didn't have the vibes we were looking for in this type of song. It's about a gang, so I'm not gonna lie, you were singing it like it's a ballad. So I don't know, but I gave you a 5.
All right, Kit Kat, I have to agree with my fellow judges. Your audio quality is really not good. Too much background noise, so many mic pops. I heard some potential in your voice. Overall, I just could not get past that audio quality.
Star does not like bad audio quality. Confirmed.
I don't.
Honestly, I try to look past it just because I know not everybody can afford it.
I look past it in some sense, but like I just think about it like this.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Because if they have that and they don't have anything better, then they can't really progress any further because it's gonna be hard to judge.
True,
it's kind of like this is a singing competition. If your quality is going to cause your performance to suffer, I'm gonna point that out.
Yeah, that's fair. If it suffers like tremendously to the point where like back to the LAX stuff before, I feel like that's kind of where you can start talking about like the audio quality being like awful, because I can barely hear what you're singing, so it affects your performance. So yeah, that's fair.
Oh, interesting. So high scoring John, who's giving out 10s all day from the last episode, 5 is a no-go for him, or maybe he got talked around from how the conversation went. I mean, I get it to a point, but if you are recording on a phone and a phone microphone, you can get something workable out of it. And it's a relatively easy thing to do. I think you could go onto YouTube and type in recording with a phone microphone, and then if you just give yourself a bit of space so that you can project and so you can get that dynamic range in, then there is some opportunity. And I feel like maybe they've let someone go that had a little bit of potential and just kind of concentrated a little bit too much on the technology side of things. But we move on to the next one.
My name is Parker O'Toole. I'm 20 years old and I'm based in Leeds, England. A green plastic watering can for a fake Chinese rubber plant in the fake plastic earth. that she bought from a rubber man in a town full of rubber plants to get rid of itself.
Should I go first because I'm disagreeing?
Okay, so I'm going to go for a yes and a 3.5. That's going to have a little bit of a boost on the previous entry. Again, I'm going off of potential, and if you can hit that kind of falsetto, it gives you a bit of range. There is at least a little bit of promise there. Very, very lacking in energy, and that's something that in the later rounds, especially, that was something that I picked up on quite a lot. Energy and performance and stage presence and that sort of thing. That lacked a lot of it. With that, you lose the opportunity to show dynamics as well a lot of the time. If you're not really putting that much energy into it, you haven't got that much sort of room to go up or down as far as that goes. But again, quite limited in terms of the time when you've only got a minute. So I'm seeing a little bit of potential, but I'm far from blown away. Let's see what the scores go down as.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to change my score after listening to it.
Oh, star's gonna change.
Yeah. I think I'm going to knock it down to a 4 and a no. I think I was on pain pills. I was on painkillers and I was like, everyone's great.
Nah, I'm gonna stand by my score. I'm standing by.
Yeah, I think I'm knocking it down because I was re-listening to it.
Can I go first? Parker O'Toole, I gave you a no and I gave you a 4 because I thought your pitch was inconsistent. Your falsetto is unsupported, especially on the part where you jump up on the, I don't know what the words are, but it's like you jump up to a higher range, and it sounds like your breast support is not fully engaged. There's this this wasn't really your performance, but there was this long, quiet area where you just did not say anything, or you didn't say anything.
Yeah, that was annoying.
But I thought your emotion was good, and I thought you have a pretty good voice, but I didn't think your technique was up to par.
I agree for the most part with your points. Just I see there's something there. That's just me though.
Yeah, no, I basically agree.
Hi there, I'm you.
Okay, interesting. We didn't really know what Sky was agreeing with, since there was a yes and a no. So I don't know what side of the fence they were sitting on with that, or maybe a little bit of both, and how that shook out. Maybe it was just an editing thing to try and trim it down as much as possible. Yeah, interesting points about breath support. It was lacking a little bit, but to be able to get up to that level and then be able to step it up again shows at least a little bit of potential for me that I would have been interested in hearing more about. But again, we move Ewan and Foo Fighters. Okay.
Ewan, this is Best of You by the Foo Fighters, and I'm older than I care to admit.
I got another confession to make. I'm your fool. Everyone's got the chains to break, holding you. Were you born to resist or be abused? Is someone getting the best, the best, the best, the best of you? Is someone getting the best, the best, the best, the best of you? Are you going on to someone new?
I have to feature this guy. That's my goal, bro. That's my...
We've got another caller, a goat, before we even start. So let's get my score in before we push too much into this. So this is going to be a yes from me. Because there's a bit of a gap, I'm trying to remember back to how others were in the previous recording. I think this is going to be my highest one of the lot. So I'm going to go for a 6, which is about as high as I really get in these early rounds. A couple of things to pick up on. The reverb is very heavy, too heavy, especially in these early rounds. We just want to try and get a feel for as raw of the voice as we can. Also, When it comes into the later stages and there's more production value, there is an opportunity to add more layers of voice into it. What I think needs to be sort of distinguished, at least in my mind, from sort of production experience and that sort of thing, is that sort of double tracking and adding extra voices, or is it a octave effect adding an upper and a lower that's just tracking the lead vocal? And that's pretty much what's happening here. I think a second line did come in that was recorded separately, but again, that's got an octave effect on it, which is adding an upper and a lower. If you're hitting your spots, hitting your notes on your main line, then you're going to get the other two are going to be pitch perfect. So it's a little bit of a cheat to thicken up your voice. You can do it in a way that is subtle, and you probably wouldn't pick up on it, especially if you put it down in the mix. This wasn't subtle with the vocal effects, so that's something that will no doubt be picked up on. But there is power there. There is some control there. Petri's probably going to be a big fan. He seems to love a rock voice. My question immediately is, will there be versatility to it? I think there is potential for that, but we will see. One of my strongest performances that I've heard so far.
Oh my, you have so
That's
many
my third
goats,
one,
bro.
bro.
You have so many goats.
We're getting the team together, bro. We're getting the team together, bro.
You have too many
Creating the
goats,
All-Stars,
bro. Too many.
Okay, so I'm going to step in on this just for a minute because it was something I was thinking about earlier when I was planning to record this at some point today. And I don't want it to come across as an age thing. It probably will sound like an age thing, but that's not the image that I'm trying to put across. But me, for example, I'm in my mid-30s, so anyone aged between 10 and their early 20s, for example, they speak in a language that I don't really understand. Like talking about Riz and full cap and that sort of thing. I could learn it if I needed to, I'm sure. But because, again, I had words when I was that sort of age that I used that you wouldn't really use in a professional context now. It's just one of those things. It's not a huge deal. But from what I'm seeing from Angelina and John, they clearly have a vocabulary that Petri and Sky aren't really vibing with, and some of the banter that's going backwards and forwards as well, they're not really getting involved in. And I do wonder how this is going to pan out during the later stages when things start to get a little bit more contentious. When there are 150 entries to get through, you're not going to fight that hard for many people in this, which is why a few I maybe would have kept. If they slip out, it's not the end of the world because they're not showing in these early stages the potential to go all the way and win the thing. Most people don't, to be honest. But yeah, you'll fight a bit, but not that much. And I think what worries me with this 4 judges, but rotating in and having 3 and 3, depending on how this works, we may well have the judges falling into sort of one of 2 camps. And then it might be, for example, one week John's sitting out and he's got a couple of judges that are a little older, maybe not on his wavelength. Some of his goats might start getting bounced out before he gets the chance to even comment on it. We might see the reverse, and it's John and Angelina in there, and they've got a slightly different mindset to the other 2, and they can get a majority in. I don't know. We'll see how this pans out as the competition runs on. I mean, for me, I guess the other thing as well, thinking if I was involved in this and thinking about Petri still being involved in it, if you've got an experienced judge against 3 judges who haven't been involved in this thing before, is that also an opportunity to maybe blitz a few things through? I had a bit of a infamous reputation, I guess, for the number of times when I was 2-1 against, and then once we went through and discussed it, ended up with the majority and all 3 judges coming onto my side and putting someone through over someone else. Didn't always happen that way. This is personal preference for me, and maybe you guys can let me know in the comments or whatever if you agree or not as far as this goes. But for the judging for a competition like this and to get the entertainment value into it, you don't need to win every argument that you go in for. Far from it. There are times when I've argued hard for something that I believed wholeheartedly in and would never be swayed for. There are times when I've gone in for arguments where I'm kind of sitting on the fence, but I'm leaning 60-40 one way or the other. There are times when I've gone in for arguments where I don't actually believe what I'm saying. I'm just trying to gauge some reactions and play devil's advocate and make sure that we're covering all the bases, maybe challenge a few people with some questions and the like. And it will be, I'm just curious to how this dynamic is going to pan out and whether, if they do start to fall into camps, will which judge sits out change then fundamentally who progresses, who doesn't, and how does that sort of shake out for the competition? I think that might start to throw up a few questions about consistency. If you lose a couple of people when you're sitting out a week, you may not want to sit out any other weeks. I know I was not particularly keen on sitting out when guest judges came in because they could be such wild cards. When you're working with the same panel, you can kind of figure out which way they're going to go and maybe how you might be able to argue a case that makes sense in their minds. I don't know. It's an interesting one.
Nah, bro, we're creating the all-star team. Y'all ain't ready. What is there to say? Like, just yes.
Oh.
Yes. That's all.
Okay. I guess I'll go next. I said there was too much reverb. Funny how John didn't mention this one. What happened to you?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
What happened to you not
normally
liking
I deduct points.
What happened to you? What happened to you not liking reverb?
Hold on. Let me cook. Since y'all bringing it up. I didn't want to, but yeah. Okay, there was reverb. But here's the thing. I could hear it wasn't carrying him, and instead it was working alongside. Alright? I would have just deducted it to like a 9.5, but I'm like, at this point, what would be the point? So I'm giving it the 10. So
Okay.
that's it.
But I thought their voice was cool. I thought their pitch was nice. I'm not sure if I put nice because it wasn't great, but we're gonna assume it means like it was pretty good. Your harmonies were good, your dynamics were good, and your emotion is good, but there wasn't like anything that really stood out to me, so I didn't give you like a 9 or a 10. I give you 7.5. Yay.
Yeah, I agree. The reverb was distracting for me. In this case, I think it did enhance your voice. It was good. The harmony was good, but a little distracting for me because I was trying to focus on just like the qualities of your voice. But it's good to know that you can harmonize with yourself. Good diction, good breath support, and I'm loving your energy. So yeah, you got a yes from me.
I was a moth to your light. At the time it felt so right. How naive of me. There was venom on your tongue. I was blind and we were young. Now I'm empty. I'll take from you just like you took from me. This air's too thin for both of us to breathe. And as you lie waiting on the battleground of this brutal war, I'll pretend that I don't love you anymore.
I didn't really.
Whoa, okay, that went off the rails real quick towards the end. Timing is a big thing for me. It was always a big thing for me when I was judging this thing. It's something that sort of sticks out to me a lot because I played a lot of drums, and when you're playing a lot of drums regularly for a gig, you kind of end up becoming a bit of a human metronome and you pick up on these sorts of things. But the main reason that I pick up on it is it throws off so many other things. If you're not where you need to be as far as your cue, your breathing is going to be off, so you're not going to have the breath support. You're going to be in the wrong place as well, which is often quite jarring. Yeah, it causes so many knock-on effects, and it's a subconscious thing. I have it in tennis, for example, where I will hold for example, if I'm throwing the ball up and I'm hitting the serve, I will hold a second longer than I should because I get the subconscious effect of my arm thinking it's in the wrong place, and then you actually swing faster into the serve, for example. It works in reverse. Even though you may not notice it, subconsciously, you know that you're in the wrong place and you try and compensate to adjust. So with that, I really needed to listen to it a couple of times and take some notes on it because, again, there is some potential, and it is going to be, for me, a yes, which I've already written, and I'm going to be putting that in a similar kind of vein. That's probably going to be a 4 to a 4.5, something like that. If I was doing this for real, I would listen to as many of these as possible so I can try and be consistent and sort of remember back to where we were. Maybe actually I should go for a 4.5 actually, because I feel like the upsides were on a similar kind of level to Valentin, but there was some sloppiness as well. There is some nice vibrato in there. There was some falsetto that was just off, which is probably not having enough air moving to be able to support those notes. I think my eyebrows may have gone up a little bit with that, but there's also some warmth. Maybe it's a little bit of choosing the right song. I would like to hear more. I'm not blown away yet.
Really liked this audition as much as you guys did. I thought it was pretty pitchy because the pitch kept like moving like up and down. Like, for example, you would sing one phrase and you'd go sharp, and then you'd sing another one and it'd go back to normal, and then it just keep fluctuating. What I do with songs I don't really know is I usually listen to the original song and the lyrics. I looked at the lyrics, and this piece is supposed to be very vulnerable. I didn't think you had that vulnerability aspect in yours, and it was a bit too like chesty versus like being gentle. I said your control was okay for the moving notes, but your high notes were strained, and that's what I gave for feedback.
I had some issues with the audio quality. Again, it sounded a little fuzzy, but that didn't sway me too much because personally, I felt the emotion in the song, but I did agree that the higher notes needed some more support. I like the tone of your voice. I can feel the potential there. And thank you for the new song obsession. I'm going to listen to that while I'm writing my novel.
Ooh.
To be honest, it was just the high notes for me. Otherwise, just a good performance. Not much.
Guys, maybe I was too biased. Should I change it?
Nah, bro. Just keep your score. Stick by your decision.
Keep your score.
Okay.
Interesting. I actually don't mind that. You know, I'm in the same boat throughout. If I see some potential there, that's great. But yeah, I actually don't mind. There's definitely a lot of issues.
There is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. And Lord, I know I'm one. Now, mother, tell your children not to do what I have done, to spend your lives in sin and misery in the house of the rising sun.
That man was cooking.
Okay, so I feel like Daniel may have been in one of the previous seasons that I judged. We'll see if Petri mentions that at some point. If he was in, probably would have been season 8, season 9, something like that. I actually enjoy the higher notes that Daniel's showing here than that very low part. He clearly has range. And if it's the same guy that I'm thinking of, he didn't show that range anywhere near enough throughout the competition and kind of reached his natural point of flaming out. You know, this sort of stuff, whether it's country or kind of a little bit of a rock vibe, really suits him. Getting into some of the other genres would have been a problem. But you know, having the ability to hit those notes, I could tell he was going higher. and I was worried that he was going higher, and then it turns out that he absolutely can get there. And I think that's an interesting one. When you have a certain voice, it's very easy to get pigeonholed in competitions like this, and to get the he's not very versatile tag and that sort of thing. But he showed that he absolutely does have some versatility in there. It's a yes. For me, that is 6.5. I'm going to bump that a little bit above Ewan's. It's showing more range. It's showing more of a variety in dynamic. But again, one of the ones I've enjoyed the most out of the entries so far.
Okay, Daniel, welcome back. Hey, okay, I was actually pretty shocked because I feel like you were historically known for like lower notes. You still delivered. I thought your runs were good. Your pitch was good. You were flat on one part. I didn't write down what part. I'll try to see if I can add that once we finish this recording. Your voice is nice. The low notes were great, but I did think some of your high notes were a bit closed off on certain parts. They were a little too, they sound like they were like on the cusp of strainy. That's why I gave you an 8.
Hey man, all I'm saying, this man said, don't even hold the utensils. He already knew his shit was heat, bro. Cause goddamn. God damn! All I'm saying, he had it. That's all I'm saying. There's no notes. He was just singing, and he sang good. I don't even need to comment no more.
All right. So I was caught off guard. Really nice deep notes, really nice runs, nice riffs. It did sound like the super note, low note, I can't remember where it was. I think it was near the end. Was a little tough to reach. It was a little grating. Good breath support. I liked your falsetto, and I'm really impressed by your range.
He is the low note king of Next Top Singer.
Mm-hmm.
Same guy. There we
The
go.
bass king.
Us.
Yeah.
Why are so many people... Alright, why is it there's like 4 people in this competition who just like swallowed lead when they were 15 years old and then
What?
they just turned into this voice?
What?
Like, bro, because I'm hearing like 4 different voices in here that's like, when did your balls drop, bro? Like, goddamn.
Whoa! Okay. Wait,
There
Star,
are children here.
What did you put for... what did you put for 25?
Wait, you have to...
Nice.
You are far too nice, mercy has a price. It's the final crack, we're about to break the ice now. You reveal your name, then you let him live. Under you I've got no mercy left to give, cause ruthlessness is mercy upon ourselves. Ruthlessness is mercy upon ourselves. Ourselves! And now it is finally time to say goodbye. Today you die. Unless, of course, you apologize for my son's pain and all his cries.
I featured this one.
was
Really,
Okay. So this is a pretty straight yes. I'm going to think about the score just quickly while I talk about this one. So there are several genres that come around, and we tend to find that people that bring those in early stick in that area quite a lot. Musical theatre is one of them. K-pop, J-pop is another one, which is maybe a little bit concerning in terms of, again, versatility and flexibility. There are certain voices that work quite well for musical theatre, maybe with a little bit of nasality and that sort of thing, that maybe doesn't convert that well into other genres. But it's not necessarily the end of the world. If that's something that you are interested in and that you are performing in, then the dynamic range should be there over longer pieces, and you'll end up performing lots of different things. The issue that worries me on this, and may worry me throughout the competition, and there are a few people you can maybe name if you've been around this for a long time, that I have consistently marked down for overperforming, over-singing. Now, energy is great, but if they are all gas, no brakes, and they don't show that they can tone it down, they can show that softness as well, and give us that variety, then it's something that I will constantly sort of pick up on. Another thing as well is, rather than turn it up to 11, I would like them to notch it down to like a 9 and put in a cleaner singing performance. These are the sort of comments that I've made in the past. I feel like I need to be consistent again. So I'm going to go in to a similar kind of level to Ewan and Daniel. Daniel, I'm going to give the bump because he shows a lot more variety over the course of a 1 minute. But Cameron's got a lot of power behind him. And a bit of sort of gravel in his voice, which is probably quite natural, or it may be something that he doesn't really have any control of. It's just there because he's going all out. Would love to see some softness from him in the next opportunity, but very, very strong performance nonetheless.
Same. I featured this one as well.
Ooh, okay, me and Star on the same page.
And
As
what
an
was
Epic
your
the
score?
musical fan, I am disgraced.
Ooh!
Star.
As a non-Epic the Musical fan, I really enjoyed it. I actually gave him a 10.
What?
This was my first 10.
Thank you, Star.
That's crazy.
I'm
I completely disagree.
I protest. I put a yes, but I protest.
No.
Thank you, Star.
I don't
I'm
agree.
actually closest to yours.
I don't agree.
Glazy. This
I
is
don't
grade
agree.
A glazy.
I don't agree, bro. I don't agree. I don't agree.
Okay, let's step in on the history X just quickly. Can you see the divide that I mentioned? So, Star gives a 10. Petrie's very happy that she's given a 10. It's the closest their scoring's been together. These two in the middle disagree quite vocally about it.
Star can go first. Star can go first.
Clearly, we do have to talk
Star
about
can go
Okay,
first.
no.
Star can go
No,
first.
I'm going first.
What?
I have to say that.
Oh, damn.
The first time that I heard this, I thought, did the winner just audition? I mean, this was one of the first ones that blew me away. So, but that's just my opinion.
No, like
I'm not
I
in the
agree.
voting, so.
This was honestly, I had 3. I think I only gave 3 10s, which is kind of wild because I'm usually very enthusiastic and exuberant about these kind of things. The level of emotion, the way he hit the notes, it was all just a perfect song choice for his voice, in my opinion. Super strong, powerful vocals, and I really, really enjoyed it. It actually just genuinely made me smile. It made me really happy to listen to. I've gone back and listened to it several times over, and I do not change my mind. I gave him a 10,
As you should.
and I believe he deserves that 10.
Okay.
All right,
John,
so
do you mind if I go next, please?
all the reasons
Can
why
I
you're
wait,
wrong.
John, please, bro? I beg. Can I go next?
Go. You know what I did
Okay.
in the cook-up.
Okay. I disagree because I think there is way too much processing. It sounds overly done. It sounds like there's autotune and it sounds like it's heavily mixed. There are mic pops. I do think it sounded good. I think there was good pitch, good growls, a lot of high emotion, but not a ton of dynamic contrast because it was just a lot of high energy. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying like my reasonings for like the deductions, right? I think the high notes are good, but I can't tell if it's because you used autotune or if it's your actual talent. I gave a 6.5 because it sounds really processed in my opinion. I'm gonna need to hear some less processing, or maybe I'm tripping and you need to send me some proof. Okay, if I'm tripping, then prove it. Oh wait,
All right,
I'm not threatening anyone. Oh,
No. Okay. All right. So here's the thing. This guy, I'm not gonna say he's untalented because that's far from the truth. He has got the vocals. I'll give him that. My problem is I've listened to Epic a little bit too much. So here's the thing. When I'm listening to the song, I'm like, okay, yeah, I hear the processing in that, but I wasn't even focused on that. I was focusing on the last bit where his vocals kind of just petered out for some reason. Like, I don't know why. It just sounded really breathy and just, I just didn't. It wasn't bad by any means. And if I was any nicer, I'd probably let him through. But no, I can't on good conscience.
Oh, John's giving him a
He
no.
got a voice, but I just
Wow. Okay.
I mean, honestly, this is one of my top 3 auditions, so I'm just in shock
man,
that
everyone-
this wasn't a yes all the way through.
Okay, so a couple of things. Petri loves a rock voice. You give him a gravelly rock voice with lots of power, he's all over it. They should be in the final. That's been pretty consistent throughout his time in the competition, so we can kind of discount that a little bit. But interesting dynamic, though. If he's going to be all on this guy, Sky's going to be all on this guy. These two aren't convinced, Angelina and... yeah. This is... this is brewing to something that could cause a little bit of a problem. The auto-tune thing is interesting. This came up in the last season that I judged. Talking about the guest judges thing, there was a big thing that happened with one of the singers that got into the top 4, I think made it to the final, who actually got eliminated because of the issue with auto-tune or not. My view on auto-tune and this sort of stuff, just to throw it in there, it's kind of tough to pick up on unless it's extreme, only because it can be quite effective, but you have to get it, you can't be completely off and then auto-tune it and bring yourself into a perfect pitch, because you just sound like a gopher if you're too far off. So you have to get it pretty much nailed in order to be able to auto-tune it effectively and it not be too much of a problem. The thing that gives me more concern is someone taking a graphic EQ and then adding bottom end and warmth and sort of chest voice that isn't there and that sort of thing. That's more of a concern for me. Auto-tune is more a little bit of polish. So even if there is something going on with that, and he has used it a bit on some of those high notes that was suggested, the raw recording that he has put through that auto-tune, it's going to be good enough that he would probably still be able to get far in this competition, is my view on it. Unless something has changed and using AI plus auto-tune, you can find a way to suddenly make this stuff sound natural, even though it's way off, then possibly. I don't think that exists. I look forward to being corrected. But interesting that John gave him a no even. He went that far. Also something that he picked up on as well. He's listened to Epic a lot. It's very difficult not to take a view on a artist or a song that you have a whole lot of knowledge on. You know, some of this stuff, I don't know the original song at all, or I don't know it very well. So in the later rounds, I would listen to the original so I've got some point of reference if I don't know it that well. Which is why it was a big problem whenever someone brought Taylor Swift to the party, because I'm wearing my jacket now from the Eras tour, as an example. I am a little bit of a super fan. I know their songs far too well, so it's a very tough one. All too well, I probably should have said.
Nah, bro. Everybody has opinions, even wrong ones.
Do you guys not agree that it's heavily processed?
I mean,
it's
I
processed,
heard heavy compression, but that's about
Yeah,
it. I mean, I have only listened to it like
a lot of-
2 or 3 times, so I didn't really
I don't know.
really
I feel
write
like there's
any
something
notes for
else
this.
in there other than compression. Maybe that's just me.
Hey,
I
I
don't
hear
know.
it too. No, I hear it too.
See, John,
All
I
right.
think you're comparing it too much to the Epic
Yeah,
soundtrack, which is the
whoopsie,
problem. We're
that's
supposed to
fair.
be
That's fair. But
See,
because
also,
we're supposed to be
also-
judging this based on their voice.
John, I do think you're
That's
a little
fair.
too biased, because personally, I did it
That's
off of
fair.
processing, and I still let him through. So,
that's all right. That's fair enough. But like, I think I just can't do it.
Wait,
I
Star,
think I'll
what
stick
did-
to my answer regardless.
yeah, no, that's valid.
Well, I think he got through anyway. So.
yeah.
And without ever letting go, I knew you'd gone astray. Stranded here in this cold atmosphere, waiting for the lifeless words to come from your mouth. Enduring every sound. So now you know that I am cold. By now, I'm found with no understanding. I don't know how I feel this way.
Oh!
Okay, I am so confused. This is definitely one of those times I would have liked to have listened to it a couple of times, 3. So for me, it's going to be a yes. It's another one of those potential things. And it's going back to that point that I made, maybe on Cameron, actually. I think it might have been on that last entry. So it's going to be a 4. I'm seeing some potential. I mean, there's a bit of screamo in there. There's a bit of falsetto in there. There's a bit of growl. There's a bit of softness. This guy's given us a little mishmash of everything that he can do. Some of it is passable. Some of it is effective. All of it needs a little bit of work. This is one of those when I would have preferred them to dial it back a little bit and just give us a cleaner version of what he displayed there. I think there is potential. It's raw. It needs some taming. Whether there's enough time to do that over the course of this competition, well, I don't know. It just feels like he's throwing everything at the wall and tried to see what's stuck. If I had more time, I would go through a couple of times and give some actual constructive notes, but we'll see if the judges come up with a few things that he can take forward.
Just a little
This
bit.
is a new one. I put a yes.
Oh my god.
And you guys said no.
Ooh.
I do want to preface, I might be a little biased because I know they're a returner. Ooh, I might have been a little bit.
That's fine.
I might have been a little biased without knowing. I'm gonna listen to it again. Hold on.
To be honest, I didn't like it.
Yeah,
but I
thought they were
probably
just-
would have said yes.
I'm gonna stick with my yes, but I'm gonna knock it down a point. Should we talk about the return here? That's kind of sad.
It feels like he's doing too much, and it's just not working. And when I hear him, it just sounds like a combination of like if Jack Black was trying to get into Fall Out Boy, but Jack Black just decided one day to just fuck it and go through. So
That's a great point.
His voice isn't bad. I do like what he did in some bits, but I just I don't know. It just feels like he's doing entirely too much, and it sounds like it's not working with how his voice normally sounds. And even if it is, when he was reaching the higher notes, he was kind of screeching. No, I'm sorry.
I've never actually really liked that style of singing. I'm gonna be completely honest, but I didn't want to. Look, this is my reasoning. I didn't want to seem biased against like more like rock/metal. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm just not experienced enough to judge on this. So I gave you a yes and a 5.5. I said your pitch was good except for certain areas. Your resonance.
Just while we're on that point, let me see if I can find it real quick on my YouTube. I think it's called The Art of Scream or something like that, or The Art of Screaming. Yeah, okay, so this is what we're talking about. Let me see if I can just go into this and find the name of the thing. Queen of Scream. So this is the woman. Melissa Cross. That sounds familiar. My namesake. Let's see if I can find the thing real quick. The Zen of Screaming. Let's see if it's on YouTube really quick. Okay, so it doesn't look like it. It looks like it's a DVD thing you can buy, or there's probably some online site that you can pick it up. But the Zen of Screaming is kind of the holy grail of learning how to pull off that kind of voice, to be able to scream for screamo and rock and metal and that sort of thing, and be able to do it in a way that is sustainable and not absolutely wreck your voice. And to be honest, it feels like he's got that technique in the tank, but the performance was kind of throwing that plus about 17 different things at it. I think this might be a shame that if they don't understand that, they might not give him a chance. But to be able to pull that off and do it safely and not destroy your vocal cords, you have to understand the technique.
Could be placed better. I feel like your mouth is a bit too narrow on the high notes, even for this style of music. I said your emotion was okay, and I said you could have used more dynamic contrast with the higher notes.
I felt like there was a good amount of emotion, at least at the beginning. but with the higher notes you sounded strained, and I couldn't tell if that was like a stylistic choice or not. And there was a really clear break between your chest and your belt. You had good diction, and your lower notes were nice. But again, I couldn't tell if it was a stylistic choice to sound so strained on the higher notes.
Strain is always a deal breaker for me, and it wasn't like this last season, so it's a shame he kind of went backwards on that.
I didn't want to say he was straining because I don't know a ton about metal and stuff, so I didn't say anything about it.
Yeah, I think so. Petrie's done this in the past a few times and sort of thought someone was straining and wanted to save them from damaging their voice, but that's a really tough thing to pick up on because it's a technical thing. Unless you're actually in the room and seeing the performance, you don't really know if they're straining or not. And I think to be able to produce, at least for the screen part, to be able to produce that kind of voice for any period of time and to be able to pull it off, you have to understand some of the technique around it. So that probably wasn't the deal breaker, but I think that is someone that has a lot of potential in a lot of areas that maybe just, like John said, tried to do too much.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you.
It's the 4 again, Angelina.
Okay, so this one is going to be a no for me. Now, this is going to be an interesting one because compared to some of the entries where I said that's got potential and the like, that doesn't sound all that bad. Let me just put a score in. So that's going to be a 2.5 for me. Now, my main reason for this is there is just so much nasality in it. It's like every note that he's singing is getting caught up here somewhere and he's not projecting it properly. There are a few contestants that have come through Next Top Singer that have had a real nasal quality. Gabriel, if anyone remembers, that I went so hard on for so long. And in the end, with a bit of improvement on his end, I got it. You know, he didn't lose that nasal quality to his voice, but it was unique. And he was able to bring that uniqueness out in his song choices and that sort of thing. If you have a very nasal voice and your notes are getting stuck up here and you're not projecting from your diaphragm, you don't want to be singing Frank Sinatra, Elton John, Adele, you know, these real power hitters. That's not your bag. Now, if it was a song choice where maybe that was not necessarily covered up, but where it accentuated it, it would be a very different story. But this is someone that they're so encamped in this nasal thing that it's going to be very difficult to kind of coach that out of them over the course of a competition unless they're getting vocal lessons on the side. They probably haven't at the moment, which means they'll be starting fresh and working on a few things. And when you start sort of rebuilding your technique, sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. And if he is trying to go all in on the nasal thing, he clearly doesn't understand song choice to make that work. So that one would be a pass for me. While there is some potential, again, I just see it being too much work that they're not already dialed into needing to do that. And it's not little tweaks. It's kind of completely rebuilding. And if they're singing from here, it's going to take a lot of time that I don't think the competition allows. But I guess that's one of my more controversial no's.
Why? Why?
It's a 4 for me, bro.
Okay, can I at least explain one of my...
Is it because it's Fly Me to the Moon?
No,
the
it's
most
not. It's not. It's not.
Overused audition song in the
It's
whole
not.
show?
It's not because of that. Maybe a little. But can I please explain this one, please?
Okay.
Okay. I gave you a no for this one because, okay, I thought you were pitchy. Okay, and this song is very oversang, so you really have to blow it out of the park. Like, it just was kind of mediocre, in my opinion. I thought your vibrato was good. I think your resonance could have been placed better. And I thought your emotion was lacking, so that's why I gave you a no.
Even in my notes, I'm like, this song is just overplayed and it wasn't really that good. And like, I just voted him because I think he has potential. It's clear that he has something to give, so I will let him go.
Yeah, no, I felt about the same. I felt it was a decent choice for your voice. Some of the lower notes sounded like a little bit of a struggle, but you had nice vibrato, good diction, and could use some more emotion. But I did give you a yes because I felt like you had a pretty good amount of potential.
I think my main reason was just the pitchiness.
Fair.
There once was a ship that put to sea, and the name of the ship was Billy of Tea. The winds blew up, her bow dipped down, oh blow, my bully boys, blow. Soon may the wellermen come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. She'd not been 2 weeks from shore when down on her a right whale bore. The captain called all hands and swore he'd take that whale in tow. Soon may the wellermen come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. Da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da ya da.
Am I allowed?
Interesting. I wish I could listen to this a couple more times and get my notes together. And this is one of those I might need to sleep on it and come back to, because there is something in there that just, it's bugging me and I can't put my finger on what it is. So I can't really dwell on it too much. So that's going to be a yes from me. Scoring wise, it's a tough one. So this is definitely on the upper echelons of what we've seen so far. Luckily, in this recording, we've had a couple of 6s and 6.5s, so I can kind of figure out where I want to place based on those. So the guy's got range. He's got the low notes. He's got the high notes. I am not 100% on what effects might be being used on some of those lower notes, especially when it's split off into the 3 harmonies. If you are, for example, what's the best way to put it? Like if you're split into 3 harmonies, then you're using either a chorus or an octave on a couple of those, then you've got 5 or 6 voices, inverted commas voices, but only 3 of them are natural, and then it ends up being such a mix of things that it's difficult to try and pick it out. I think what we are lacking here from Aaron, that we are not, what we're lacking from him that we've got from everyone else, with the exception of those using a little too much effect, is he's given us the full production value of what you would expect in the later stages. We're not going to have a basis of comparison of a 1-minute raw a cappella vocal from him. And what he's done is quite impressive. I feel like there is a little bit of overproduction and there is a little bit of maybe trying too hard is the wrong word, but I would maybe going forward into later rounds like to see one main lead vocal with some other component harmonies put in but lower down in the mix. You know, with this, it's kind of, there are 3 parts. All 3 parts are smashing you in the face at the same time. It's difficult from a judging perspective, especially if you're trying to do it on one listen. It's difficult to pick up on things like sort of dynamic range. You really have to go and and get granular with it. So it's a good one for me. I still need to score it. I'm going to put that in. I'm going to give it a 6.5 again. Compared to Daniel, I think this was overall a better vocal performance, but I think Daniel gave us a better show of what his voice can do, while Aaron gave us a better show of his performance and his production, which is not necessarily what we're prioritizing in the casting round. I think he gets the concept, though. I'd just like to see him maybe in the mixing stage, which isn't something we really judge for, but it can make a difference, to tone down certain parts of it, put it into the background, and I think he'll get an overall better result.
Allowed to vote like below 1.
Whoa!
No.
Whoa!
No,
Calm down there.
actually, no. They get 1 point for actually submitting something. So.
Oh, okay.
That's the bare.
Oh, is that what it was? Should I change my ones then?
No.
Why?
How?
Shut up! Shut up!
Okay, we gotta talk. We gotta talk about this. No. I cannot, in good faith, let you walk away with that atrocious vote. There is no way.
Okay.
So for the record, my camera is not showing right now because my crappy phone already ran out of space. So I'm waiting for it to transfer the files to my computer before I can start filming again. So
last we
but
left off.
let's just move on. With
Last we left
Aaron.
off, John was super upset. He was throwing stuff across the. I'm just kidding. No, he wasn't. Okay. But John, since
Okay, I just, Aaron, what were we doing? It's the Wellerman. How do you mess up the Wellerman? I just don't get it. No, go home.
Oh my goodness. Was that all you had to say?
I hope we get some context to this. Yeah.
Brother, there's nothing else to say. What am I supposed to brother? Do you want me to tell him what he did wrong? Because at this point, it was just the entire performance from start to finish.
Oh,
I don't know who decided to direct the vocals on that because it was not correct. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness.
I love the video though.
Oh yeah, the video was good. The video was good.
The video was good, but
he was like, yeah, I hate you. Oh, the video was good.
The video was fine.
I'm impressed by your range, but you were off key.
Interesting guys to come in and be like, can we get some actual constructive feedback out of this? And I think if you're going to say everything is wrong, then you do have to drill down into what that is. I know John pulled this off in the first episode as well. I get from an entertainment factor when just burying someone might be fun, but try and add that with a bit of a constructive edge, because that's been rated. Oh, can we give that less than a 1? That has been the worst performance out of 20 that we've heard so far. Which it doesn't match up with how I've scored it, and we don't really have any explanation as to why that's been given. So,
your harmonies were discordant. They were incorrect. Your diction was really good, and the video was well produced. So I gave you a 6, but not go through.
Again, this is a returner. Maybe I was biased. Oh my goodness, bro. Aaron, oh my god. Okay, I'm so sorry. Please don't take this in the wrong way, bro. I love you as a person. Actually, I don't know you that well, but please don't take this in the wrong way. I thought your pitch was inconsistent. The key changes halfway through. Your harmonies are off. I thought your voice was resonant and your energy was good, and the layering was cool. But everything else, the harmonies, I feel like it took away rather than adding. A lot of them were pitchy. So, do you think it's weird that I said I love you as a person? Because I don't know him that well. Oh,
brother,
no.
it's fine. Amen.
Okay.
It's cool.
I'm actually, I feel really bad for Aaron, bro. Oh, he's been a contestant and he's made it past round 1 both times before. I think he just tried to be a little too ambitious for
let's go
round
back
1.
to this. Interesting. Okay, let's have one more listen to this.
There once was a ship that put to sea, and the name of the ship was Billy of Tea. The winds blew up her bow, dipped down, oh blow, my bully boys, blow. Soon may the wellermen come, to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. She'd not been 2 weeks from shore when down on her a right whale bore. The captain called all hands and swore he'd take that whale in tow. Soon may the wellermen come, to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. Da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da da ya da 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 ya da da ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da da ya da da.
Am I?
Okay. Okay, I see the pitch issues, especially in the higher parts, but again, I'm seeing potential. I don't. Okay. On to the next one.
We got a #1 victory royale. Yeah, Fortnite, we bout to get down. Get down, 10 kills on the board right now. Just wiped out Tomato Town. My friend just got down. I revived him, now we're heading southbound. Now we're in the Pleasant Park streets. Look at the map, go to the mark sheet. Take me to your Xbox to play Fortnite today. You could take me Moisty Mire, but not Lou Lake. I really love to jug with you. We can be pro Fortnite gamers. He says, hey broski, got some heals and shield pot? I need healing and I am only at 1 HP. Hey dude, sorry, I found nothing on this safari. I checked the upstairs of the house, but not the underneath yet. There's a chest that's just down there. The storm is coming fast, and you need heals to prepare. I've got V-Bucks that I'll spend, more than you can contend. I'm a cool pro Fortnite gamer. Cool pro Fortnite game.
Jakey!
All right. Let's just throw a no. And let's throw a 1 on it, because I haven't given any 1s yet. I'm feeling left out. It was a 1.5. This is clearly a bit of a troll performance with the song choice and the way it was performed. So won't spend too much time on it. To be honest, for all of a couple of seconds, there was a few notes in there where I was thinking if they'd actually put in a proper performance, then maybe they would have been able to sneak through this round. With stuff like this, though, when it's very choppy, and this is part of the issue with J-pop, K-pop, and why it ends up being such a struggle, is when there is so many syllables in a phrase, like an unnatural amount of syllables in a phrase, then you have to kind of rush it to get them all in, so it sounds choppy, so you can't really show any sustain or dynamics. You just got to run through it. That throws your timing out for the times when you can open your voice up and sing a little bit, which is why I don't recommend that sort of thing for a song choice. This is another one of those examples. If they actually did American Boy, probably the same issue, because the vocal part is fairly similar with some Kanye rap on it, but there's not so much to kind of fit in on the phrasing for the Estelle part. So maybe it could have worked. I don't know. I think this is one of those, if they took it seriously and put in a serious entry, maybe they could have got a little further, but I think this will be one and done quite quickly.
Excuse me, what were you thinking with this Fortnite meme song? No offense, but like if you're gonna sing a meme song, you gotta at least sing it pretty good. Last year we had someone sing a meme song, it was Peaches. Oh my god, love Mina. She did really good, she blew it out of the park.
That was good.
But she, like, you have to, if you're gonna do a meme song, you gotta sing it pretty good. You were pitchy, you were nasally, your rhythm was wrong, and rushed in the faster part, like the rap part. The emotion is lacking, and it sounds like talking even when you're supposed to be singing in certain sections. So I gave you a 3 and a no.
I was basically going to say the same thing. It's just, I'm not even mad. I'm just disappointed. It's Chug Jug with You. This is an absolute classic, okay? This is where the goats come and align themselves. And then you just came and destroyed the legacy. I'm disappointed. I'm just disappointed. I'm not even mad. I'm just straight up sad that you messed up this song. You disgrace your family with this. Leave. Leave. You don't need you. You don't need you.
Yikes.
Oh my god.
Yikes, that was too far. Oh my god.
But I have to agree with Angelina and John. Really? This meme song? And it... Really? It really doesn't feel like you're taking this seriously.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's good to have fun, but...
Not with this.
This is a competition.
Mm-hmm.
As great as it is to have fun, you also have to take it at least a little seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to at least sing the song good
Yes,
for it
exactly.
to be considered.
No, Star, you have to listen to last year. Last year, there was someone who sang Peaches from the Super Mario Brother movie, and it was really good. It was so
really
good.
That's one of the best entries in the history of
It
the
was
show.
insanely good, and it was a meme song, so that's why I was so upset about this one.
Exactly. I'm just disappointed.
Alright, I'll have to listen to it. Just disappointed.
And she ended up winning the competition.
Yes,
so.
she did! I love her! She was in my group! Oh my god, Mina! Oh, okay.
Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more auditions in the next episode. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Okay, so another one in the books, episode 2. We're through about, let's see, I want to say we're through 20 entries, but there are some others that have had scores. Apparently, I guess that's just been put on the Google Drive sheet. So, yeah, I'm not sure whether those are going to come up, but they're not on my scoring sheet because they're not in the episodes. We can't judge them. So we'll see how that progresses. But anyway, that is it for another episode. It's been an interesting one. A couple of people didn't make it through that I maybe would have pushed forward. I think we're starting to see a little bit of a potential divide between how the judges are going to move on. That could hit some flashpoints in the later stages depending on who sits out on certain rounds. And from my speculation, we saw that start to shake out a little bit, even in this early stage. So the dynamic is going to be interesting. Also, for the second episode in a row, we've heard John absolutely slam someone with no constructive feedback to come out of it, which doesn't sit all that well with me. I know I've made plenty of comments that come across as quite harsh, but I try and word it in a way when someone could take something constructive out of it. At least I thought I did. Anyone that's a long-time listener can maybe disagree, but yeah, there's a couple of things that I would like to maybe see ironed out and maybe removed, and that's one of those things going forward, just to kind of be reined in a little bit. And there's also a lot of talk about favourites and goats and the like, which ended up being a big sticking point in the past. There's also been mention of auto-tune again, which has been a big sticking point in the past. I'm just seeing early signs bubbling under the surface that things could start to kick off in this, but I hope I'm proved wrong. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you've watched this on Twitch, then feel free to throw a subscribe onto the channel. I have plans for this Twitch channel for other things as well as singing stuff, but it's just going to come down to when I can fit it in. Again, on the YouTube channel, there are plans for more singing stuff, more reactions to actual entries, where I'm going to have my own crack and give my own version of those songs as well. And a few other things, just live things that I want to talk about or will want to talk about as time goes on. It's, again, just trying to find time to fit it in. You know, sitting down and recording something live, no editing, is a little bit more straightforward. But we're going to keep up with this. We're going to try and record a reaction to every one of these episodes. So hopefully you can stick along for the ride. It's been fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying Next Top Singer being back again. And unlike the last season, season 10, I only watched the final. Listen to the bodies of work, listen to the final song, listen to the final judging, etc. This time it'll be good to get back in for the whole ride. So, yeah, fun times. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree with some of my points, some of the judges' points. If there is anything you disagree with as well, let's have a bit of a back and forth, get a discussion going. That should be fun. And I will catch you for the next one.